Arsenal have finally signed a true centre-forward, someone who delivered over 60 goal contributions last season, potentially to become the undisputed number 9 under Mikel Arteta. And this isn't just any signing, it's a move Arteta hadn't made at any point in his entire tenure at the club, until now. So today we're going to break down why Arteta finally decided to bring in a true penalty box killer, and take a deep dive into all the drama and instability that surrounded Arsenal's striker position in recent years.
This time, Gyökeres through on goal again!
Okay, to understand why Viktor Gyökeres is joining Arsenal, we have to go all the way back to the start of Mikel Arteta's time as manager. Because this isn't just about bringing in a top scorer, it's about fixing a long-standing issue that's been holding Arsenal back from winning titles.
And so I agree with you in the overall that Arsenal at some point have to win something. We talked about this, that I don't think the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup is enough. They got to win something major. It's going to be incredibly difficult for them to do so.
When Mikel Arteta took over Arsenal, it felt like the start of something huge. He didn't just bring tactics, he brought hope.
We still have a massive gap to fill in. We have to improve in many departments a lot. We have to respect the process. It's been really difficult. Stop, start. But yeah, we will get it right. I'm convinced of that, and we need a little bit of time, that's all.
He brought identity.
The gap in many areas, we cannot improve it in 2 months, but the gap between the accountability, the energy, the commitment, and the fight of the two teams now is equal. And before it wasn't like this. And I'm very proud of that. The rest will take some time, but at least that, we've got it now. And my message to the players is with that, we can create something.
In his first season as manager, he led the team to an FA Cup title, beating Chelsea in the final at Wembley.
It's still Aubameyang! It's absolutely brilliant! They have won the FA Cup!
The players bought in. Arsenal was finally on a path again, but fast forward 5 years, no more trophies. Not a single one since that FA Cup in 2020. Yes, there's been progress, massive progress. Arsenal has finished second in the Premier League 3 seasons in a row. They're Champions League regulars again after missing out for 6 straight years. Last season they even reached the semi-finals, a stage many thought they wouldn't reach for years. But here's the thing, even with all that progress they still fell short. That Champions League campaign, it was wild. They beat PSG 2-0 in the group stage.
His delivery, Martinelli tries to get something on it! It's gone all the way through and into the back of the net!
Then lost 1-0 to Inter. They demolished PSV 7-1 in the round of 16.
Odegaard drops the shoulder and finds the back of the net.
Then, in one of the club's best nights in Europe in decades, they crushed Real Madrid 3-0 in the quarterfinals. Complete dominance, no mercy. And yet, in the semi-final, back against PSG, they just couldn't find the net. Only scored once, and this time, Luis Enrique's side shut them down completely. After the game, Arteta said Arsenal had been the better team.
Do you think the best team lost this time?
I think so, yeah. Especially for 160 minutes. I'm saying that, and they are saying that because they just told me that.
Who did? The PSG bench?
Yeah.
But Luis Enrique, smiling in his press conference, flat out disagreed.
Mikel Arteta said when he was sitting where you are that Arsenal were the better team over 2 legs, and what's more, you agree because your bench told him so.
I don't agree at all. Mikel Arteta is a great friend, but I don't agree at all. I think they played in a clever way today, and they get the match to the right moment for them because they play in the way they want and they love to play. But I think in the 2 legs we score more goals than them, and in football is the most important thing.
That's been the story of Arsenal under Arteta, building something powerful, something beautiful, but never quite enough to finish the job. So here's the thing, the lack of a proper striker hasn't always been Arsenal's biggest issue under Mikel Arteta. In fact, the Arteta era started with one of the best number 9s Arsenal had seen in years, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Aubameyang for 2! He's done it!
He was electric, 91 goals, 21 assists, 163 games, clinical, dangerous, decisive. But despite his contributions, his time at Arsenal ended in chaos. After travelling to visit his mother, who had suffered a stroke, Aubameyang returned late and Arteta didn't forgive him. The manager cut ties, citing disciplinary issues. Just like that, boom, gone.
Both the club Having a personal conversation and myself face to face with the player.
And how did Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang take it?
He had to accept the decision.
And since then, Arsenal haven't had a true goal machine. Lacazette stepped in. A solid player, great quality sure, but never world-class in terms of consistency. He ended his Arsenal run with 71 goals and 35 assists in 206 games. Respectable? Maybe. Game-changing? Not really. Not in every important match. Then came Eddie Nketiah, a homegrown talent. The club had high hopes. Arteta gave him time, but across 4 years he only managed 35 goals and 10 assists in 149 matches. Not the numbers you want from your number 9. Then came the big move. Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City. He had flair, he had technique, he had movement. He was supposed to be the guy to finally lead the line. And to be fair, he looked great when he was healthy. But injuries haunted him. In his first season, 2022-23, he scored 11 goals and 8 assists, but missed 12 matches with a knee injury. The next season, same story. 8 goals, 10 assists, and more time on the sidelines. In 2024-2025, he missed a shocking 25 games with an ACL injury. Then came the Kai Havertz experiment. He arrived in 2023, still just 24 years old, full of potential. But his first season at Arsenal was rocky. Arteta played him all over the pitch, striker, attacking mid, false 9, but never found a consistent fit. Havertz scored 14 goals and added 8 assists that season. Then in 2024-2025, he improved slightly with 15 goals and 5 assists, playing more regularly as a striker. But guess what? Right when Arsenal needed him most, in the Champions League knockout rounds, he was injured again. 17 matches missed. This striker problem forced Mikel Arteta to get creative, so much so that he ended up using Mikel Merino as a centre forward, playing the role of a false 9. And to be fair, it actually worked pretty well. Merino dropped into midfield, connected play, and brought a level of control that helped the team flow. But here's the thing, he's not a natural striker. He doesn't have the instinct to make sharp runs in behind, to stretch defences, or to constantly sniff out goals in the box. Yes, Merino has great shooting technique and can finish when given the chance. But he lacks that killer movement, that poacher's mentality that a true number 9 lives off. So here we are, 5 years, and not a single striker has stepped up as a consistent elite goal threat. Either they're the wrong fit, always injured, or Arteta just can't count on them. So what's next?
Viktor Gyökeres to Arsenal. Here we go. The deal is done for the Swedish striker to leave Sporting and join Arsenal. The deal has been agreed between clubs after long negotiations, never been off because Gyökeres only wanted to join Arsenal. 5-year contract for the striker who is ready for medical test and contract signing. New number 9, new striker for Mikel Arteta, and so Gyökeres will be the new striker for Arsenal, completing a long negotiation. Now everything is done. Now the saga is over. Gyökeres will play for Arsenal. It's done. It's confirmed. It's here we go.
Let's be honest, 5 years without a major trophy is painful. Arsenal fans have watched their team come so close, only to fall short again and again. It's almost part of the job to be an Arsenal player to end always second. They're tired of being the almost champions, runners-up in the Premier League, out in the semi-finals of the Champions League, close but never quite there. And after that painful semi-final loss to PSG last season, it really felt like the season was over for the Gunners. But then has become official.
Here we go, the wait is finally over. I'm joining Arsenal Gunners, it's finally happening.
Viktor Gyökeres, the striker every big club wanted. A total goal machine, the kind of player who doesn't just show up in highlight reels, he creates them. And after weeks of tension and speculation, the deal was finally sealed.
Gyökeres is awesome. He's going to have massive expectations on his shoulders from minute 1, right? Because, I mean, his goal output is not normal. Even for players that have been touted as top players in the Primeira Liga in Portugal that have come to the Prem and kind of flopped, some have, some haven't. But none have been as good as this guy in the Portuguese top flight. So everything you're saying, I see it. The physicality, the recognition of the spaces, playing in between the lines, dropping back, combining. His passing is really good. His finishing is really good. He has so many tools in his back pocket. I've been so eager to see him take that next step in his career because the season before this one was also crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a new test, a more difficult test at Arsenal if it is to happen.
64.5 million euros plus 10 million euros in bonuses. Arsenal got their man. And get this, Gyökeres didn't even consider other teams. He only wanted Arsenal. Even when late offers came in from other clubs, he didn't flinch. His agent even gave up his commission just to make sure the transfer happened. That's how serious this was. The Swedish striker, just 27 years old, signed until June 2030. And if you're wondering why everyone's so hyped, here's the reason. 54 goals and 13 assists in 52 games. That's what he did last season at Sporting. Numbers like that don't just get attention, they break scouting systems. Arsenal didn't just sign a striker, they signed the striker they've been looking for since Aubameyang left. Here's the crazy part. What Viktor Gyökeres has done in the last 2 seasons. Almost no one saw it coming. Seriously, rewind the clock a few years and you'd never guess this guy would turn into one of the most feared strikers in Europe.
He was at Brighton and they let him go. They didn't see anything. He went. He passed through Brighton, absolutely zero effect. They passed up the opportunity to make a star of him. And when you look at the players that Brighton have sold and the incredible fees that they've generated, that put a question mark. The fact he went to Coventry City and he was playing in the Championship and he left there for just £23 million, a lot of clubs are saying, well, hang on, how can he be worth, because there was talk about him last summer, how can he be worth 100 million just 1 season later? So it's almost like a bit of, amongst the scouting departments of the Premier League clubs, well, have we got this wrong? You know, he was at Coventry City and nobody came in for him, so why now?
Back in 2020, he was grinding it out in the 2nd division of German football, scoring just 7 goals in 28 matches. The next year, he split time between Swansea City and Coventry City and only managed 5 goals and 1 assist. Decent numbers, but nothing special. Then, something shifted. In the 2021-22 season, he exploded at Coventry. 18 goals and 5 assists, not bad at all. And the next season, 22 goals and 12 assists in 50 matches. That got people talking, and that's when Sporting CP came calling. What happened next? Nobody was ready for it. In his debut season in Portugal, Gyökeres went absolutely nuclear. 43 goals and 14 assists in 50 games. The kind of numbers that make people wonder if it's just a fluke, a hot streak, a one-off.
What's interesting about him, Jan, is the fact that he has been, for example, the Premier League and made no impact whatsoever when he was at Brighton. Obviously then made his name at Coventry, has made his move now, and now everybody's talking about him. Is there any concern that this is just a hot streak?
No, I don't think so, because when you see his movements, when you see the form he's in now, that sometimes happens to players. When you come to an environment where you have a coach that first of all give you the trust, they rely on him, he play all the time, and of course now he's in a time for a striker. The best time you can have as a striker is when you feel, I will always score a goal. I will always score a goal. You have that feeling. I will score today, I will score tomorrow, I will score every day a goal.
But then he did it again. 54 goals and 13 assists in 52 matches the following season. At that point, it wasn't a streak, it was a statement. Viktor Gyökeres wasn't just playing well, he was entering his prime, that special window where everything clicks. The strength, the awareness, the killer instinct, it's all there now. But here's the thing, Viktor Gyökeres isn't just about goals. Sure, the numbers are insane. 68 league goals since joining Sporting 2 summers ago, more than double any other player in Portugal. That alone should turn heads. But Gyökeres is way more than just a clinical finisher. He's a force of nature. This guy is an absolute machine off the ball, relentless, direct, and explosive. He doesn't just wait in the box for tap-ins, he's constantly hunting space, making diagonal runs behind defenders, drifting wide to drag centre-backs out of position, and then boom, cutting back inside like a freight train with a rocket strapped to his boots. What sets him apart isn't just the goals, it's how he creates chaos. He's the kind of striker who puts defenders on red alert the second he starts moving. He can take a nothing ball and turn it into something deadly. Now, of course, the Premier League is a different beast. It's faster, it's tighter. And playing for Arsenal, a team that dominates possession and plays with a patient build-up, means he might not get the open space he thrived on at Sporting. And yeah, he's not the greatest in the air. 0-headed goals in the league last season, but that's fine, because Gyökeres doesn't need to fly, he bullies his way through defences. He turns half chances into goals, pressure into panic, and silence into noise. If Premier League teams thought they had figured out Arteta's Arsenal, they're in for a rude awakening, because with Gyökeres in the squad, Arsenal just added a whole new dimension. But here's the real question, is Viktor Gyökeres the weapon Arsenal needs to finally win the Premier League?
This Gyökeres idea has ballooned and ballooned and ballooned and ballooned. He's either going to flop, be like a Darwin Núñez case, where he killed it in Portugal and then goes to the Prem and is unable to adapt and perform to the level that's expected of him, especially for the price tag, or he keeps on showing the worth and the balloon just keeps on growing, and it never bursts.
Let's be clear about one thing. This upcoming Premier League season might be the most intense and competitive we've seen in years. So yes, Viktor Gyökeres is a massive signing, but he alone won't win the title.
Arsenal had pushed and pushed, and it's time to get over the line.
Especially if they get Gyökeres, if they give him what he wants and what this team
but
is
Adam,
really
I mean,
missing.
I understand what you're saying. There is though a part of me that this Premier League is going to be hard to win next season.
Yeah.
We see Liverpool, who just won the league. Look at the transfer window that they've had. They went for Wirtz and Frimpong, and they're going for Ekitike, and they got Gyökeres in. That's 300 million worth of spending, and it's a damn good team. Manchester City, as you mentioned, Tijani Reinders and Ryan Cherki and all these, Ryan Aït-Nouri on the left side, all these players they brought in. We know that Guardiola can get that side whipped up. So it's incredibly difficult. And so I agree with you in the overall that Arsenal at some point have to win something. We talked about this, that I don't think the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup is enough. They got to win something major. It's going to be incredibly difficult for them to do so.
The pressure is now fully on Mikel Arteta. He's got the talent, he's got the depth, now he's got the striker. It's time to deliver.
They need to win something. They need to turn these second places into first places or a significant trophy, and I mean a significant trophy. But yeah, look, if Gyökeres, let's say he scores 20 goals plus in his first season, but then Arsenal's defensive stats go down, then that's not on him. So he would still be deemed a success, he personally, but he would be part of a group. So if they fail, then he is part of that failure as well. But I don't think Arsenal fans are looking at that right now. They're looking at, the new signings that are coming in, some exciting signings. This team is having a real makeover, and as I said just now, I don't think they're anywhere finished yet. I think they're looking to do more and more business in this window.
But here's why this moment could be the turning point. Gyökeres might be the final piece of the puzzle, the evolution Arsenal needed to stop being the team that almost made it and finally become champions. And it's not just about goals, it's about what he unlocks tactically. The most obvious setup, Gyökeres leading the line at centre forward, with Bukayo Saka on the right and Gabriel Martinelli on the left. A deadly trio, pace, power and precision. But this Arsenal squad is deeper than ever, and Arteta finally has the flexibility to get creative. His trusted 4-3-3 formation can now be tweaked in countless ways. Havertz could rotate as a false nine. Once Gabriel Jesus is back from his anterior cruciate ligament injury, he'll bring even more depth and movement. Madueke will soon join after his summer break, offering options on both wings, giving Saka and Martinelli much needed rest when the schedule gets brutal. But the real game changer, Gyökeres offers something Arsenal didn't have before. A striker who can pin centre-backs, play with his back to goal, and drag defenders into uncomfortable positions. That creates space inside the pitch. For Odegaard, for Saka, for the midfield runners, Viktor Gyökeres checks nearly every box for what you'd call a complete striker. He's got the acceleration to burst in behind the backline, the strength to hold up the ball and bring others into play, and a cannon of a shot that makes him a threat from just about anywhere near goal. But here's the thing. As good as he is, he might not be a perfect fit for Arteta's system. At least not yet. Gyökeres is built for chaos. He thrives in broken defensive shapes, especially when fullbacks are caught upfield. He makes those curved runs from central zones into wide spaces, dragging defenders out of their comfort zone. When he receives the ball out wide or higher up the pitch, he doesn't slow down. He goes straight at defenders, using quick touches and sharp direction changes to unbalance them and carve out a shooting angle. He's not just running into space, he's tearing it open. And that's where the conflict starts to creep in. Arsenal under Arteta is different. They build up methodically. They pass, circulate, wait for the right moment to strike. It's structured, controlled, positional. The final third isn't a place for chaos, it's a place for precision. That's not exactly where Gyökeres has made his name. He's not the type to drop deep, play 1-2s around the box or wait for a cutback. He's a striker who wants to create his own shot and attack defenders head on. But maybe that's exactly what this team needs. Just look at players like Erling Haaland or Alexander Isak. They're classic examples of strikers who can carry the ball over long distances, use their physicality and speed to break lines and create chances on their own. Haaland, for instance, is a machine inside the box. Give him the ball in the right area and he'll finish. Simple as that. But here's where Viktor Gyökeres sets himself apart. He offers something even more valuable: superior technical ability in tight spaces. One of Viktor Gyökeres' deadliest weapons isn't just his finishing, it's his movement. Inside the box, he's like a shadow that defenders can't quite track. He positions himself between the centre-backs, usually on their blind side, waiting for that split second when all eyes are on the ball carrier. That's when he strikes. If the delivery is good, there's almost no stopping him. Gyökeres is a master of timing. He delays his final move just enough to make defenders think they have him under control, only to slip into the gap he's created with a quick, explosive step. It's this ability to stay unpredictable, to constantly shift and fake, that makes him so lethal when attacking crosses or cutbacks. When the ball is delivered deep or towards the far post, Gyökeres has this incredible knack for reading the trajectory and attacking from behind, catching defenders flat-footed. He's not just reacting, he's anticipating everything, from the quality of the cross to how the defence shifts. And then there's his ability to adjust his body mid-run. Whether it's a quick twist for a near-post volley or a controlled finish after cutting across his marker, Gyökeres knows how to make every touch count. In tight spaces, these micro-movements, those subtle body feints, make him nearly impossible to mark. If Arsenal can provide him with consistent service, especially from wide areas, Gyökeres could become the kind of striker who doesn't just score goals, he breaks teams mentally, making every defender second guess where he'll appear next. Arsenal has been through a lot over the years. Players have come and gone, the club has spent more, hoped more, and pushed harder with every season. But something was always missing. Now with Viktor Gyökeres, they might finally have found their missing piece. A striker who doesn't just score, but scares defenders. A player who can create something out of nothing when it matters most, like in a Champions League semi-final, when the team needs a miracle. Gyökeres doesn't just bring goals, he brings gravity. His presence alone creates space for teammates, draws defenders, and forces chaos in the box. For a club that's been chasing greatness, he might just be the start of something special. Yes, the Premier League will be brutal. Yes, Liverpool is a beast. But Arsenal didn't lose a single game last season against the Premier League's Big Six. They tied Liverpool twice. They dominated almost every match in Champions League last season. And now, they've added a ruthless striker to an already loaded squad. Mikel Arteta has rebuilt this team piece by piece. And now he's got a true number 9. A pure, dangerous, decisive striker. This is the version of Arsenal that could finally bring an end to the drought. The question is, can Gyökeres rise to the moment? Because if he can, this could be the dawn of a golden era at the Emirates.